This is Geek News Central. My name is Todd Cochran, coming to you from the new media production studio. The lead stories are Americans supposedly are willing to hand over their privacy data for a better user experience. Google, in an attempt to bring workers back to the office, are relaxing COVID-19 rules. Amazon, once again, does not want to be unionized. And Coinbase reports big earning numbers. Those stories and more. And I want to welcome you to episode 1588 of the Geek News Central podcast for Thursday, February 24th. This show is sponsored in part by GoDaddy.com and listeners just like you. Great deals from GoDaddy can be found at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. You can support this show today at geeknewscentral.com/insider. I want to give a warm welcome to the new listeners of the show. Thanks for being here. Thanks for checking the show out for the very first time. Make sure you get over to geeknewscentral.com. Check out all the great content. Follow and subscribe to the show when you're on the website. You can always join our chat room as well at geeknews.chat or our Discord channel. Those links will be in the show notes tonight. And, of course, you can get those show notes delivered directly to your inbox if you sign up for our newsletter. Newsletter is linked on the website as well. You can always contact me via email, geeknews@gmail.com, or on Twitter at geeknews. You can follow me on Facebook as well. Partner shows are all linked at geeknewscentral.com. And, of course, that includes the new media show, the Pro Gear Guru site, the Gadget Professor, the GNC Week in Review, and, of course, this show, again, right at geeknewscentral.com. And, of course, this show is sponsored by the longest-running continuous sponsor of our podcast. That's our good friends at GoDaddy. And I tell you, the deal is still on. I checked it just before the show started. $1.99. $1.99 a month economy of hosting with a free domain for the first year. Again, $1.99 a month. $1.99 a month economy of hosting for the first year of the free domain. Or a $2.99 a month to manage WordPress hosting site for the first year of the free domain. 30% off new product purchases, a free trial of GoDaddy Website Builder, your choice of personal, business, or business plus plans. That's a 1-month free trial. And, of course, for brand new customers, you can get and move a new domain name for $4.99. So if you have one existing somewhere else, move it to GoDaddy for $4.99 or pick up a new one for $4.99. It's a one-time deal code, only good for new customers. Definitely check it out. You want to thank GoDaddy for being a longtime sponsor here. Again, thank you for your ongoing support. And as a reminder, every time that you pick up a GoDaddy product or service or recommend a friend to pick up a GoDaddy product or service, you are just doing the same thing as writing a check to the show. So share that, my codes, share that link with your friends, family members, people that you know. Someone's talking about starting a business, doing something special online, and we've got you covered here. geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. Send them there, and then click through and lock in the savings. Again, I want to thank GoDaddy for being a longtime sponsor here at the show. Haven't talked about it too much on the podcast. Of course, things, we don't talk about regular news world events on this podcast very often, but I really can't go without saying, my thoughts are with Ukraine and Ukrainian people. Matter of fact, one of the folks that has worked on Geek News Central, the website, from time to time is from Ukraine. So I sent him an email today saying, hey, are you okay? What's going on? So thoughts are with them and the families there. It's crazy. I don't know if we're going to be able to put Putin back in a box, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, it's too bad. It really, really is that lives are being disrupted. People are being killed, all because of a tyrant from Moscow, in all honesty. So moving on from that, weather here's been crazy. Just wait 15 minutes and the weather will change here. As I was slipped out of the office for a few minutes, I had to go do an errand and came back, and it was 50 degrees 3 days ago. It was cold yesterday. Now it's snowing, and it's just, the weather can't make up its mind here on what it wants to do, and I guess it's nothing new, but yeah, winter sucks in a big way. Very easy to say that. But got a lot of things going on. I got a pretty big announcement in a few weeks from my company. We've been working hard for a couple of years to get to where we're going to be, and so a couple of weeks, sometime mid March, big announcement from the company, and it's just the beginning, to be honest with you. So lots of things happening there. Sadly, though, I don't know if I not talked about it on the last show, but my CIO, Angelo Mendato, who's been with the company since the inception, has moved on. He's been with the company, I think, 16 and a half years, ever since we really began. And he has decided to move on and do bigger and better things. So been a little bit of a changeover, the company readjusting without him being there, and seeing where the chips are going to kind of fall out with everything. So it's been about a week, and now a little more than a week, I think, and really at this point trying to make some adjustments, but it's been good. And I think that fresh beginnings, gives some people in the company the ability to move up, and but anyway, that's kind of some news there. But wish him the best of luck in his next endeavors. He's a really smart individual, absolute genius, and really built the core of what the backside, or the engine that runs the company today. But I'm at a point where I really need a vacation, something soon. I need it in the worst sort of way, but I just don't see any time. The way my schedule is stacking up with a trip out to LA in March. I've got a trip to Vegas in April, 2 trips to Florida in May. Trying to figure out if I can work that. So I stay down there and go visit my grandkids, 2 of my grandkids. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But going to try to find some time at some point to take some vacation, and that where I can really unplug. But it's really, really hard when you're, in the day-to-day thick of running something here. So let me double check what's going on in the stream. Hey, Toby, and those who have checked in on a variety of social sites, thank you for saying hello. I appreciate it when you do that. Of course, if you're watching live today, make sure you check in and say hi. We're on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, just about everywhere else as well. So thanks for being on. So kind of a weird. I know what I was going to do. Those of you watching, today I'm just using one of my regular logos. So I think it's time for, we've run the back screen logos for a long time. And I think it's time for a change. So if you have some ideas and are creative, submit me a 1080p, 1920 by 1080 image. And it could be 2 images because, there's 2 screens back there. And come up with something creative. We'll have a little contest on that. And prize TBD. And hopefully we get more than 1 or 2 entries. And maybe there'll be a couple of prizes. But back screen image challenge. What should we run? And it doesn't have to be specifically for episode 1600. It's something we can carry through and use again and again and again. So if you want to submit a back screen image, geeknews@gmail.com, and get you in the contest running. We're going to run it for a little bit, be talking about it here on regular shows, but time for a little bit of, put a little lipstick on the, on the screens. It's kind of a weird news day. And I actually, in the YouTube stream, I kind of labeled it No News Day, because it's kind of like nothing big. No big stories, just a whole bunch of little informational stories. So it's kind of an odd one. Kirk even said when he was going through, says kind of light. And I went over to Tech Meme and tried to pick up a few more, and still it was kind of thin. So I don't know if people have their eyes on what's going on in Ukraine. People aren't making announcements. Who knows? But February 24th, a little thin. But one thing's for sure, over at the Register, they're saying Americans are far more willing to hand over personal data as long as it translates into a better user experience. what does one have to do with the other? And when I see a story like this, I always get suspicious because most Americans are outspoken in their concern about what companies are doing with the vast amount of personal data they're collecting. Matter of fact, I had a business call with Nielsen earlier in the week talking about some things and not wanting to build user personas, not necessarily tracking individuals. And some of that stuff is a little gray, right? But apparently more than half folks out there, according to this article, are okay with allowing organizations access if they're doing so gives them a better user experience. Now, this is where it gets a little funny. This is according to a survey released this month by Axway, whose API management platform and related products are aimed at enterprises that want to securely move data across their IT environments, including the cloud. For the company's global consumer survey, commissioned by Propeller Insights to survey more than 5,000 adults in the United States, in Brazil, Germany, France, and the UK, the vendor found that despite ongoing concerns about security and privacy, consumers are increasingly embracing the idea of open banking, financing, and healthcare. Did you hear that? 60% of people globally believe it's worth allowing companies to access their personal data if it means a better user experience. They found people are supportive of having more control over who sees their data, and they want to better understand who's accessing it at any moment, but a whopping 90% of respondents wish they knew what specific data companies have collected about them. Well, they've collected everything about you. And U.S. citizens were the most comfortable with giving enterprise access to their personal data. And it's according to the survey, 59% of Americans said it was worthwhile allowing companies to access their information. It was a better experience. Now, how can that be if you're concerned about privacy and you're willing to give people more data? 73% of people worldwide use their Google or Facebook accounts to log into other apps to avoid having to create more logins they have to deal with. So again, giving more control. We understand that. But it's a little bit odd to me. You know, I think at least this audience, everything I hear from you is, you know, you're concerned about your privacy. So makes me wonder here, it really, really does. It's always in the details of who did the survey, the type of questions asked. But anyway, that's according to the Register. Google has relaxed COVID-19 rules for its U.S. employees. And of course, they delayed its employees' return to office a few times over the past year, but it looks like the tech giant is truly gearing up to welcome workers back. Now, do they really want to come back? And according to CNBC, the company is easing some of its COVID-related mandates as part of those efforts, including relaxing its vaccine requirements for employees. In other words, you're not going to get fired anymore if you aren't vaxxed. Based on an email from Google Real Estate Workspace Service Vice President David Radcliffe that CNBC has obtained, the company is also dropping its testing requirement, also applied to vaccinated employees. It's lifting its mask and social distancing requirements for vaccinated employees, with the exception of its offices in Santa Clara County, where its Mountain View headquarters are located. That said, unvaccinated employees must still be approved to work in the office, and they'll still have to wear a mask and get regular tested if they're coming in. They're also opening up amenities for employees, including fitness centers, massage, full shutter service, more places to eat, as well as lounges and music rooms. So that's an interesting move. Now, here's the thing. We talked about it on the last show. I think the world has forever changed. I would not want to be in the commercial real estate business right now, because I know the big office I have in Columbus is probably going to be either downsized or done away completely with at some point in the future, because my employees are spending 80% of the time working from home. Why do I need a 5,000 square foot office if they're all working from home? I don't. So the money I spend on maintaining that, the internet, everything that could be brought in, that's another employee just in that recovered cost of not having to pay rent. So time will tell on how this all works out. But my prediction is a lot of people are not going to want to go back to the office. And companies are going to have a hard time making them go back to the office. And those companies that do are probably going to be losing people to companies that don't have such a strict in-office requirement. So what say you? What do you feel? What do you think is the future? Do you think in office now? Firemen, policemen, service workers, people that work in various industries, car mechanics, they're going to have to go to the office, right? They're going to have to go to work. But for people that do this all day on the computer, maybe not. You don't have to got a phone, you interact with people necessarily. I think there's going to be a significant percentage of people that won't go back ever. So time will tell. It's being reported that Amazon once again interfering in the unionization vote at the Alabama warehouse, according to unions seeking to represent workers there, quote unquote. They've been accused of interfering in its second union. The union says Amazon removed literature from break rooms and holds captive audience meetings promoting anti-union sentiment. And of course, this second vote is being held because the NLRB found Amazon interfered in the first vote last year. And so they're voting. Now, the union representation could be getting this built up if the vote doesn't go their way, to try to go back and do an appeal. Time will tell if this works or if this has actually happened. But they're trying to do some tactics according to the union. So we'll see where this leads, and time will tell, right? And whether if that union vote succeeds there or not. Coinbase, of course, did a big advertisement on the Super Bowl where they just showed a QR code on the screen. They reported their fourth quarter earnings after the bell on Thursday. Earnings comes after major cryptocurrency saw a weak month in December. Coinbase warned shareholders in the previous quarter that stock should be considered a long-term investment since its business is volatile. But earnings per share were at $3.32 versus $1.85. They knocked it out of the ballpark. $2.5 billion versus $1.94 billion expected. Now, here's the thing. They make all this money on transactions. It's crazy amount of money. And, with the way crypto is, it's up, down, and around and sideways. It's amazing that they made that much money. $2.5 billion. I wonder what their actual, does it say what their margin line was? How much they spent? I don't see it listed. We'll have to look at the actual true earnings report. But with that much of a earnings per share, it's just incredible. Really, really, really is. So congratulations to Coinbase. On the hype front, Hyperloop front, and I call it the hype front, Virgin Hyperloop is going to focus on cargo, not people. They want to put a Hyperloop underground. They want to move cargo with it. And the company told BBC the change in direction moving people to cargo was due to global supply chain issues. And but at the same time, Virgin Hyperloop has laid off a bunch of people. So where is it going? And said the company is responding to strong customer demand for a cargo-based Hyperloop system. Its long-term vision remained to address passenger mobility. And we know Elon Musk first conceived this type of technology, high-speed transport system in a vacuum tube. And yet a lot of talk, and yet nothing more than a couple of miles of actual track to run these things in now. So I think it's a long way off. You just have to start, digging holes for hundreds of miles, not just 2 or 3 miles. Over at TechCrunch, it said top subscription app revenue grew 41% in 2021 to reach $18.3 billion. It's no wonder that mobile publishers are just absolutely at war trying to keep more of their subscription revenue out of the hands of Apple and Google. This new report reports that the top 100 non-game subscription-based apps saw their consumer spend increase 41% in 2021 to 18.3, up from 13 billion in 2020. And this just represents a small portion of the overall revenue from the in-app purchases across both apps and games, which totaled 131.6 billion in 2021. But the problem is their margin going into mobile is growing versus it on the web. So it doesn't bode well for their margins if you're given 30% to Apple for every transaction. I shudder to think of having to give any one company 20 to 30% of my revenue just because. It's pretty shocking. I would not want to have to be in that business. Tumblr is available ad-free for $5 per month. You can keep your favorite microblogs clutter-free. I don't even know of anyone that has a Tumblr site. They were known for some adult stuff early on, but they banned that in 2018. Are you guys seeing are you guys going on any Tumblr sites? It just seems a little weird for me, to be honest with you. Block. Now, Block reports 1.96 billion in Bitcoin sales via Cash App during the fourth quarter of 2021. Payment company Block, again, formerly known as Square, they're being sued, said Thursday that it's made 1.96 billion in Bitcoin sales via its Cash App, producing 46 million in gross profit from Bitcoin. Block said Cash App generated just over 10 billion in Bitcoin sales for 2021, representing $218 million in Bitcoin gross profit. Just being an app, doing a transaction. Isn't that incredible? It's a big, big, big amount of money. It really, really is. So I definitely benefited from people buying Bitcoin. And again, crypto continues to make serious inroads in people's investment portfolios. It's, again, invest at your own risk. On the other hand, scammer sites continue to flourish. Scammers are using fake COVID-19 sites to tame your data. If you're looking for a free testing kit or searching for info about COVID, watch out for fake websites that steal your personal information. Government agencies, security experts are sounding alarm about these scams, which are likely to remain common so long as the pandemic is ongoing. And here's what they're doing. These websites may look legitimate and often reference real programs the government has put in place to help people obtain COVID-19 relief, like free testing kits. However, these sites instead designed to gather large amounts of personal information from individuals. This information can be used in pandemic phishing attacks and other scams. And there have been over 600 suspicious domain registrations since the beginning of 2022, all related to domains used by the government. So be careful. Now, you can go on Amazon and buy yourself a COVID-19 testing kit. They're available. But I know that some of you are looking for the free one. So just always make sure you go to a .gov site. That's usually a good indication you're on the right site. And just be careful when you're out there sharing information, requesting information. All right? There's a lot of stuff going on. And also, who does this affect the most? Usually the elderly. So watch out for your adult parents, grandparents, because these are the folks that get preyed on the most that just don't know. All right? Netflix says its new trivia show might push more people into games. Okay. Netflix latest game is an addictive trivia title from the creators of Bandersnatch, an interactive experience called Cat Burglar, where correct choices help move the story forward. More of this hybrid games-based storytelling is on the way, and Netflix thinks it could help push more of its users to think of the service as a place to play games. I do not think of Netflix as a place to go play games. I think of Netflix as a place to go watch movies and different series. Are we that addicted to gaming that we're going to play games on Netflix, it just seems a little odd to me. It really, really does. Talk about the union stuff. An Amazon union organizer was arrested for allegedly trespassing at a warehouse. And this one happened out in Staten Island, I believe. He was a former employee. And he said he was just delivering food to employees. But no, the Amazon said, you've been here a number of times. We've been told to leave the property. And they arrested him. And the video was captured by Motherboard, which reported that the NYPD handcuffed the organizers who wore bright red shirts with the slogans Amazon Labor Union. Smalls was fired in 2020 after he led a protest outside the warehouse demanding better safety and health protections. So we know that the vote to unionize the Staten Island facility start on the 25th of March. So you don't want to trespass. This company's been in the news, not much in the news, but if you remember, we talked about Motional and Via. Those are two basically companies that are joining together to have robo taxi shuttles, automated. People basically get in the vehicle and it drives you around. And they are going to have safety drivers, but this is going to be available in Vegas for free. So if you're willing to go between certain areas, safety drivers and predetermined pickups and drop-off locations are becoming available. And so again, Motion is a joint venture between Hyundai and Aptiv. And again, they've been testing their vehicles in Vegas and California. So just keep an eye out if you're in Vegas for a Motional drop or pick-off location to get a free ride somewhere. Now, I know a lot of folks are renting. I know the housing market right now is insane. I actually saw a Facebook post earlier today where someone was complaining. Now, I live in rural America, and the town that they were advertising this house is not too far from here. 3-bedroom home, and they were asking for $1,100 a month for rent. And I thought, oh, that's a pretty good deal. People were losing their minds that rent for a 3-bedroom home was $1,100. They said, you could buy that home and pay a mortgage cheaper. And I'm like, have you checked the mortgage prices lately? People are coming in and 20 people are bidding on single houses and they're going way above market value. And I was kind of like, you obviously haven't been home shopping lately. Anywhere almost in America is crazy right now. And especially in this area, because we have a big meat processing plant called Clemens in town, they can't find enough places for people to rent or live. So it's like the housing market here is tight. So when it's tight like that, guess what? The rents go up until there becomes more rental properties available. Well, I know a lot of people rent, and I understand why. And while there are positives to being a renter, think no maintenance headaches, not necessarily true. Many renters still feel like they're essentially throwing away money every month when they make their rent payment. But one startup, a New Jersey-based company called Pinata, is out to make renters feel rewarded and help build their credit. Now, sometimes people rent because maybe their credit isn't the best. And I know some people have a hard time renting because their credit isn't good as well. But it just raised $13 million in Series A funding toward the effort. Launched in mid-2020, the startup partners with property management companies to make its service available to renters. The company says that from January 21 to January 22, it saw more than 600% growth in new users, nearly 300% growth in property management company partners, and 1,100% growth in revenue. Just over 220,000 renters actively use its platform. And it says they are the first and only service to report renter payments to major credit bureaus for free. Its goal is to bridge the credit discrimination gap for renters, many of whom have historically found it difficult to save for a down payment and build their credit sufficiently to be qualified for a home loan. And I know someone that's getting a divorce in this area. It's going through the same thing right now. And so this is kind of a cool system. They partner with management companies. You pay to rent to this group. They then report as long as you're paying on time, doing the things you're supposed to, They report the credit agency. Your credit rating goes up because if you're showing good faith that you're able to make your rent payment on time, etc. So I could see where this would be advantageous. I didn't know that most rental properties did not report to credit agency. Well, they definitely report if you've missed a payment, but how come they don't report if you've done well? Okay, so U.S. and Russia, well, they're still tethered by the International Space Station during this Ukrainian insanity. And they're still saying, NASA saying everything's cool on the International Space Station. It seems like science and space is a little bit different than ground and governments. The partnership has been a lengthy one. This is certainly not the first time that Russia and the United States have clashed on the ground while continuing to work together in space. NASA and Roscosmos have continued cooperation on the International Space Station during the 2014 invasion of Crimea, and even after Russia blew up its own satellite, just like the Chinese and others, idiots, creating debris that threatened the ISS. Constant communications between two organizations has been paramount for safety, quote unquote. There's currently 7 people at the International Space Station, including 4 NASA astronauts and 2 Russian cosmonauts. And of course, they've been on the International Space Station for 21 years. Don't feel too bad for Elon Musk. His wealth dipped below $200 billion for the first time in 4 months. The craziness in the stock market right now caused his net worth to go to $198.6 billion. Now, Musk remains the world's richest person, and he has vowed basically to give all of his money away before his death. And we know he doesn't take a paycheck, even though he paid like $13 billion in taxes this year. He said he's always cash poor. And he signed the Giving Pledge in 2020, vowing to give away the majority of his wealth during his lifetime or upon his death. So he's also pledged to sell off his properties and worldly possessions to fund his goal of building a colony on Mars. He's going to fund the colony on Mars through Starlink. I'm telling you, can't wait to get my Starlink antenna. Cannot wait. I check the site about every 2 or 3 days. They're going to send me an email, but I'm still like, come on. Nikola, the truck company, plans to ramp up production of its Tre electric semi-trucks in March with the goal of producing 2,500 trucks per year. And so we'll see. But they want to build to a capacity, though, of 20,000 trucks per year. And they're working on the phase 2 of a facility that should be completed early in 2023 to allow them to up their production. And they've had some SEC issues here, and they took a $125 million civil penalty, basically because they were doing some misreporting. A grand jury basically hit them on fraud charges. So, yeah, they had their challenges, but we'll see if they have enough money to weather the storm if they can start rolling out trucks. Microsoft continues to fix Windows 11 with changes to the taskbar and widgets. I'm going to be kind of honest with you. Since I have pretty much went the Mac route, I'm kind of stuck at Windows 10. I haven't even seen a Windows 11 yet. So I know there's a number of you that are Windows users out there. How are you liking Windows 11? What are you seeing? What's cool? What's the reason why I should have my machine here that I'm running Windows on does not support Windows 11. It's running Windows 10 just fine. What say you? Well, what's the dealio? And it's real easy to talk to me about it. geeknews@gmail.com. geeknews@gmail.com. Send me an email. Tell me what you think about Windows 11. If you're a Reddit user, Reddit has revamped, or the Reddit app has been revamped and adds a discovery tab for finding communities and new navigation. The company said it heard from users that they wanted a better way to explore their interest. And today, Reddit has more than 100,000 active communities, but many of them are still underexposed. So if you are a Reddit user and you use the app, well, let us know what you think of the update. I use Reddit, but I've only ever used it on the desktop. I only follow a couple of communities, a podcast community and a couple of others. So for those of you that are hardcore Reddit users, if you like the update. Also, we're getting ready to have on the 28th in Barcelona, the MWC is getting ready kicked off, so we're going to see a lot of mobile phone news next week. But one of the early things making news is the new Moto Edge Plus, and according to them, they want to be a more affordable Galaxy Note. The phone starts at $900. The Galaxy Note is $1,200, and it features an active pen support, but Moto Smart Stylus and Folio cost extra. So that's probably a new announcement here. The $900 price time is only for a limited time. They said, unlike the Galaxy Note or the new Galaxy S22, Motorola's Smart Stylus, an optional extra that will come bundled with a folio cover. So anyway, they've got all the full details. If you are a Moto fan, you can definitely, aka Motorola, you can check this phone out. Link will be up in the show notes. And any of you have one of these? Not surprisingly, moving on here, Spotify has taken down additional or freshly added episodes of the Alex Jones podcast. You know, the platform banned him in 2018. So did Apple. Yet you can still subscribe to a show on the Apple Podcast app. You have the RSS feed. But apparently stuff's been sneaking on to Spotify, and they put the hammer down. And they swiftly removed episodes of his show that recently added to the service. The Watchdog Media Matters reported on Wednesday that episodes of the far-right conspiracy theorist podcast emerged on a daily basis since Saturday, though they've since vanished. So someone snuck him back on. You just need an RSS feed, and you can submit any show over there. I didn't know about this, but the iPhone iPhone Face ID repairs may soon no longer require whole device replacement. I remember talking about this, but I didn't know this was still ongoing. So Apple has reportedly told employees in stores and authorized third-party repair shops will soon be able to resolve Face ID hardware issues without having to replace an iPhone entirely. Technicians may have to access a true depth camera. Part of that includes Face ID. They'll be able to swap it into an iPhone with this new part. So, okay, well, that's good that more things are going to be able to be fixed without them having to throw the whole phone away. A little more news on Elon Musk. The SEC's opened an investigation into whether or not there's been some insider trading. Officials want to know if Musk told his brother about impending Tesla share slides. And he isn't about to catch a break from the SEC anytime soon. And basically, he wanted to know whether or not he told his brother about what was going on with Tesla. So, but his brother sold 88,000 shares just a day before the November 6th tweet. So of him basically making some comments. So we'll see. He get hammered again for doing something he shouldn't. When you're part of it, you have a public company, you have to be so careful. Now, this next story I find to be kind of intriguing. And I've never seen this. I guess it's a magazine. It's called The Week. And a teen that was challenged by his mother to stay off social media for 6 years collects $1,800. When the Minnesota resident was 12, his mom told him if he didn't use social media for the next 6 years, she would give him $1,800 on his 18th birthday. At that time, he'd only downloaded Snapchat and deleted it after a day, so he happily took her up on the offer. He held up his end of the deal, and on his 18th birthday, his mother presented him with $1,800. Without the distraction of social media, he said he was able to focus more on sports and getting good grades while also avoiding all the unnecessary drama that was on there. He's not sure where he'll spend his money yet, but ladies and gentlemen, I will applaud this mom and her effort to keep her son off social media from the age of 13. Could we all be so lucky? Honestly. No Instagram, no Facebook, no Twitter, no Snapchat, no any of that stuff. So congratulations to him. I think that's commendable. Instead of the mom saying, you won't be on social media, and he would have been, she offered up the cash reprise. A little bit of a bribe, I agree. But believe me, I think that mom's going to find out that was the best $1,800 she spent in a long, long time. In a very, very bizarre lawsuit, OnlyFans is facing a lawsuit over terrorism database claims. Now, check this out. This lawsuit over claims it conspired with Facebook to disable adult entertainers' accounts by placing their content on a terrorism database. The BBC has reported one was launched earlier this week by a rival platform called Fan Central, and the other is a class action lawsuit made on behalf of 3 adult entertainers. Both Facebook and OnlyFans were named as defendants. The class action suit claims performers' content was placed on the Global Internet Forum to Counter Terrorism website despite not being terrorist in nature. They reportedly led to a decline in traffic to websites that compete with OnlyFans. Similar claims were made by Fan Central in its lawsuit. Both say that the problem is happening on Instagram more than any other platform. So basically, this is an ulterior motive. This is my hypothesis on this, is they said that because those entertainers were on the other apps, OnlyFans did something to get them on a list that would make their ranking lower on those apps. I don't know how that would work, but it's interesting. We know that OnlyFans last year said that they would no longer host pornography, but guess what? They basically backed up from that when basically they had an internal revolt of its entertainers. So they've secured assurances that their banks aren't going to take their money, I guess. So it's a very odd lawsuit. We'll see where this one goes. Alibaba shares slip after it reports slowest ever revenue growth and missed expectation. The 10% revenue growth is the slowest quarterly year-on-year growth since 2014. Alibaba shares closed 0.7% lower on Thursday. They had revenue of $242.58 billion versus 246.37 billion won estimated, with earnings per share at $16.87 won or $2.65. 10% revenue growth. Who would not run a company and be absolutely backflipping over 10% revenue growth? That, ladies and gentlemen, is a number. 10% revenue growth since 2014? Who does that? Ladies, and fellas, listen. Please listen. A woman said she lost $390,000 after falling for an online crypto dating scam. Nicole of Tennessee told CBS News not only did she lose her money, but her father's as well, attempting to make friends before moving to California. She inherited her late mother's house and decided to sell the property. She split the profits with her father and inherited $280,000 that was supposed to be used to help her family build a life in California. The 24-year-old decided to try the online dating site Hinge and match with a man named Hao, H-A-O, while visiting a friend in the state. He told her he came from the same town in China where she was adopted, and they continued texting after she returned home. He suggested she try investing in cryptocurrency, an area he told her he knew well. Well, it appears it was a total scam. She invested via a link he sent her, and supposedly when they had a combined balance of $1.2 million, $280,000 to 1.2 in a hurry, she said, I want to take my money out. guess what? It wasn't real because she was prepared to pay the tax on her earnings of $380,000. It was fake. Nothing was real. That money went straight to this scammer. Please don't send anyone any money. No Cash App request, no PayPal request. Don't send any money across the state wrapped up in tin foil. Don't fault the victimization of your banking account hack. Don't, please, please. Wow. Got sucked in. $280,000 gone. Absolute insanity. Don't trust anybody. There's catfishers out there. Just be careful. Never give money to anyone that you're not married to. Oh my gosh. Investing? You're going to take the word of a stranger. I'll invest in cryptocurrency. Wow. Amazing. Really, really amazing. We talked a little bit about the other day. Trump's social app marveled by bugs and apparent ban on some accounts. Well, it's been they weren't ready. They didn't have enough ponies ready to pull the train. They've got a waiting list of like 400,000 people trying to get on the app, and yeah, it's they were not ready. It's Twitter replacement, but they build it on Mastodon. That's kind of interesting in itself. You guys know that geeknews.chat is run on a Mastodon server. We're up and running, so you can go over there and make an account at geeknews.chat. And again, it's Geek News and the metaverse, and it's not a conservative thing. Mastodon's not. It's just a social thing, a social engine. So, interesting. But I was kind of surprised they built the platform on top of Mastodon. That was kind of eye-opening to me. It's being recorded, of course, the Ukrainian government sites have been disrupted by denial of service attacks, and also malware has been discovered on those machines. The websites of the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Minister of Defense, Minister of Internal Affairs, Security Services both confirmed outages, and some computers were compromised. So this should not be a surprise. And Cloudflare told ZDNet they've been seeing sporadic denial of service attacks in Ukraine. So that's not surprising as well. So they're trying to, looks like someone is trying to wipe computers over there too. So please, you tell your companies and people you work with, be careful. Don't click on things right now. Be very, 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 very careful. Ukraine war flashes neon warning light for chips. Yep. So here's the thing. The global chip industry has huge issues right now. Ukraine is a major producer of neon gas critical for lasers used in chip making and supplies more than 90% of U.S. semiconductor-grade neon, according to estimates from research firm TechChet. About 30% of palladium, a rare metal used for semiconductors, is sourced from Russia. A full-scale conflict disrupting export of these elements might hit players like Intel, which gets about 50% of its neon from Eastern Europe, according to J.P. Morgan. The pain won't fall evenly, which supplies machines semiconductors source less than 20% of gases it use from crisis-hit countries. Companies may turn to China, the United States, and Canada to boost supplies. Rare earth metals is things that we have to be very aware of in this country as well. We need to have our own rare earth metal mines. I know people don't like mines, but we can't be relying on other countries for our semiconductor needs. But, we learn the hard way, right? That's why car prices are as crazy as they are right now. So, part of it. Okay. Pretty good show. Got more out of it than I thought I would tonight. So, I hope you all enjoyed hanging out with me. I did get an email in, and let me go down here. And am I in the right email account? No, I am not. Go down here. Got an email. It's about Canada. He said, hey, Todd, I won't argue about what occurred in Canada. Being Canadian, I have some perspective. This went beyond a protest and became a siege against people in our nation's capital. It is worth looking into what local people went through. Afraid to go in the streets, stores and restaurants closed, citizens and disabled persons unable to buy groceries, physical and emotional abuse shown to locals, loss of employment, unable to sleep due to noise, threats to life and limb, protesters setting fires, defecation on personal property, desecration of national monuments, loss of employment, so on. This was not a protest. It was insurrection. Leaders of the group wanted to overthrow our government. Well, maybe that's true. But that's not the demands I heard. But anyway, police took control, not national forces. As a correction to your statement, we do not have a premier or president. We have a prime minister. Okay. My bad. We do not have senators. We have premiers of our provinces. So just from a visit, watch her from afar. Canada's Canada. It is. You guys did what you're going to do. Your elected officials did what they did. We're just watching. I'm just a bystander watching what's happening on TikTok because they definitely didn't cover it in the news. I saw all the stuff on TikTok. So I'm sure all of that happened and more. But it is what it is. Truckers had demands. They didn't get it. I hate to say it. When truckers get pissed off, you don't eat. You don't get supplies. Factories close. Truckers keep this country moving. This country, I'm sure the truckers keep Canada moving too. But we'll see what their activities in the future bring, if it brings change or not to the country when you guys have your next elections. Okay. That's going to be it. You guys have comments on today's show? Fire them away. geeknews@gmail.com. I'm on Twitter @geeknewsman. My pleasure bringing the podcast tonight. Don't forget about our sponsor, GoDaddy, geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. We definitely want you to support them. And if you're an insider, thank you for being an insider. I definitely appreciate your ongoing... What did I do here? Well, that was weird. I'm not hitting play. Pushing that button. There we go. Again, if you're an insider, thank you for your ongoing contributions of $2, $5, $10, $15, or $25 a month. It's greatly appreciated. Those of you that are making one-time donations via the geeknewscentral.com/insider page is also greatly supported. Helps me keep the lights on, keep the rent paid, all this stuff that goes along with having an office. So everyone, thank you for being here. Thanks for watching. We'll see you back on Monday for another edition of the Geek News Central podcast. Everyone, take care. Bye-bye.